synonyms. Perturbed, not a very difficult word. Perturbed means what? Somebody who's disturbed, troubled. So many adjectives. Can you think of adjectives for perturbed? Nervous, worried. Right? These are all adjectives for perturbed. I am perturbed, I am anxious. Right? Your mind is not calm and peaceful. Yes, which means you're all this. You're disturbed, you're troubled, you're nervous, you're worried, you're anxious, agitated. Right? Now let's look at our options. We need synonyms. Delectable. What is delectable? Delectable means tasty, delicious, luscious, enjoyable. Not the word. Right? It's a positive word. Out. Flustered. Flustered means the same. Upset, anxious. Same. Disturbed, all of that. Worried. So, obviously our answer is flustered. Acclimatized. Acclimatized means what? Just for you to know the other words as well. Right? Adapting to that particular weather. Adjusting to the weather. Accommodating. Yeah, these are all the words that you can associate with acclimatize. Accustomed. Accustomed means used to. I'm used to this. I'm accustomed to this. Performed. It's a really simple word. Something that you do, something that you enact, where you take action. Right? Perennial. Again, not a very difficult word. You must be aware of this word. Perennial means throughout. Something that is permanent. Something that lasts. Lasting. Right? Something that is recurrent. Right? What are our options? Perishable, intermittent, ephemeral, discursive, ineradicable. Okay. Something that is perishable. What can be perishable? Something fresh can perish. Right? A rose today I buy, it's a fresh rose. By tomorrow, if I don't put it in the water, it will dry out. It is perishable. So something that is fresh, something that is unpreserved. If you don't preserve it, it will perish. Right? So that's the meaning of perishable. That's not the synonym for perennial. Intermittent means irregular. Irregular means not regular. Right? So how can it be perennial? Somebody gave option 2 as the answer. Moin. Irregular. Discontinuous. That's the meaning of intermittent. Intermittent breaks. Ephemeral. Ephemeral also means temporary, short-lived. Right? Something that is, and this is an antonym for perennial. Ephemeral. Something very brief, momentary. Right? Discursive. What's discursive? Discursive means rambling, digression. Going on and on and on and on and on. Discursive. Ineradicable. There's your answer right there. Right? In prefix means not. Eradicable means something that can perish. So ineradicable means something that cannot perish. Right? Something that is permanent. Again, when I say something is ineradicable, I'm saying impossible to remove. Permanent. So this is our answer. Okay. In fact, perennial has a perishable means something that does not last long. Something that will perish. Perish means to die off. To die. Right? I gave an example of a rose. Now, perennial actually has a Latin origin to it. The Latin word is Perennis, which means lasting through the year. Continuous. Actually, if you dissect this word, per means through. And annus, annus means year. So that's where this word comes from. Lasting through the year, permanent, lasting, recurrent. Discursive, I said, we're talking about rambling and digression, which may not last through the year. It's not recurrent, right? There is I can ramble, maybe a speech or a writing, right? But it's not lasting. There will be a point where you have to stop. So I can't take that as the closest in meaning to perennial, right? We're looking at most effective words. So even if there are one or two words where you feel, hey, why not this word? Look at, logically apply that in a context and see. When I say something is discursive, you can have a rambling speech. Immediately look at collocations, rambling speech. This person digressed from what he was telling me. At some point he has to stop. It cannot be lasting through the year, right? Crook. As soon as I see this word, I don't know if you're familiar with this phrase, by hook or crook. Are you familiar with that phrase? I will finish this assignment by hook or crook. I will do this by hook or crook. Have you heard people use that? Hook or crook. Yes? Yeah. So what does it mean? When I say I will do this by whatever means possible, right? Either by fair means or unfair means. Which means crook is a negative word. Yeah, by any means, yes. Either fair means or unfair means, right? Hook or crook, that's why they say they differentiate it. Now let's look at our options. Disastrous means what? Something that is devastating, something that was unsuccessful. This was disastrous, which means it was not a success. Something really went wrong. Okay. Dispassionate, again I have my prefix dis. Dis means not. Dispassionate means not passionate, right? Unemotional. Somebody who doesn't have any feelings. Unemotional. Disinterested, again dis, not. The prefix dis means not. Disinterested, not interested. Okay. Diligent means somebody who is very diligent in something. This is not a difficult word. Diligent means somebody who is very meticulous, somebody who is very hardworking. He is very diligent in his work. He is very careful in his work. He is very hardworking. Right? That's the meaning of diligent. What is delinquent? When I say something delinquent, I'm talking about some sort of a wrongdoing. Right? Some criminal offense. Some antisocial thing. Felony. Right? Diligent, yes, performing with full concentration. That's what meticulous means. Attention to detail. Right? We are looking at synonyms. Out of the options, what's the closest in meaning to crook? Delinquent, option 1. Right? All the other words are kind of unrelated. Like dispassionate is not a related word. Disinterested is not a related word. Disastrous. Someone said disastrous, but the closest one is delinquent, more than disastrous, right? Poker faced. Let's look at our options. Spooky, picturesque, quaint, hysterical, deadpan. Okay, so if something is spooky, right? Maybe I watched a horror movie. It was spooky, right? Something very eerie, something very frightening about it. Usually, when I say something is spooky, related to ghosts, right? Or some sort of a spirit. Imagine you are sitting in the hall and you're watching a late night horror movie, and suddenly the window is like making all sorts of noises, and you turn around and you see one figure passing. What will you say? Oh my goodness, when you're explaining this to your friend. If you are alive the next day to explain to your friend, you'll say, I saw this thing, an image. When I turned back and looked at the window, it was so spooky, right? Eerie, frightening, disturbing. Okay. What's the next one? Picturesque. Picturesque means something very pictorial, right? Something charming, something very striking. A picturesque view. Quaint. Quaint also means something that's charmingly odd, but in an old-fashioned way. Yeah, something very old-fashioned. A quaint building or a quaint picture. It's charming, but in an old-fashioned way. Right? That's the meaning of quaint. Hysterical. Come on. You don't know hysterical? When somebody behaves, full of panic, frenzied, right? Panic-stricken. So you go to the exam hall and then you realize you forgot to bring something very important, right? Like your ID or something. You become hysterical. You panic. You get into a frenzy. Right? Deadpan. The word itself comes from that. Dead. Which means no emotions. So deadpan. What's deadpan? Blank, expressionless, right? Straight-faced. And now, for you to understand this word poker-faced, see, there's already a clear dissection of the word, right? Poker-faced. Are you familiar with the first part of the word, poker? What's poker? What's poker? So poker is a card game. Meaning, when you look at players, playing poker, usually what they do is they don't want to show any expressions on their face, right? So which means they are expressionless. You can't make out. So you don't know if they are cheating, they are bluffing or not. So that's the hiding the expression, right? So poker faced is the same as deadpan. Somebody who's expressionless. You can't figure out what is it that they are thinking about. Congratulations, Moin Khan, as well. Poker faced, deadpan is the answer. Yeah, if you can dissect words, connect it with certain things, you'll be able to easily arrive at the answers. Antonyms. Okay, let's quickly look at the word given is profound. Again, very obvious prefix pro. Meaning pro, in fact, gives a very positive vibe. Okay, so when I say something is very profound, I'm saying something is it's either insightful, full of insight, something intense, something meaningful, right? These are all the words that I can associate with profound. Something profound, something insightful, something intense. So if I say, let's look at an example sentence. His first novel is very profound, which means it was very meaningful, it was very intense, it was very insightful. So we're looking at antonyms here. So some of you are getting confused. You're giving me synonyms. Special is again a synonym of profound. Large and less are unrelated words. The antonym of profound is something that is superficial, something that is not intense, something that is not doesn't hold any meaning, very superficial in nature.